Welcome to Watching Westworld, the officially unofficial podcast for Westworld on HBO. I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
And we just got done watching Season 2, Episode 4, titled The Riddle of the Sphinx. Holy shit, they're doing all of it. Everything. Yeah. Every theory that anybody had came true in this episode.
You got a theory? It's true. Except for mine where I thought the tiger dish didn't rot for 35 years.
No, I think that was in there. I think
really?
That was, yeah, okay. There was a shot of the tiger where they said, holy shit, it's
because
still
that's not his real
not
daughter.
rotted.
That's a clone of the daughter he made 35 years ago.
Yes,
right.
Which they revealed as well. No, I mean, they took all of the theories that everyone was noodling on
really
and trying to work
yeah.
through and then just shotgunned through him this
where's
episode.
Logan? He's dead.
The
project is
Who's this Grace lady? It's MIB's daughter.
Yep.
What are they doing with the Delos project? Like you said, yeah, they're cloning humans. Like,
what do you think the whole Grace bullshit was? Was that just misdirection, or was she actually covertly working QA undercover? Or
I don't think we know. I mean, it was credited on IMDb, which is fairly unreliable when it comes to credits, especially like writing credits.
But there was that whole Grace stuff with the ARG last.
There was, but that's a connection people made from the IMDb credits. So I don't even know if Grace is the right name for her last episode, and clearly her name is Emily,
right?
Because she is.
So I might be trying to synthesize like two different bad theories there.
I mean, the whole internet was, right?
Yeah. No, but you're right. Like they didn't have to make us wait to reveal the significance.
And it blows my mind that I guess I thought this was going to be a longer term riddle for lack of a better term for the season, but we're in episode 4. We just blew the lid wide open on what Delos is doing. So I'm actually, this gets me really excited for the rest of the season because we have 6 more episodes where I've got no clue what to look forward to now, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I want to drop something on you. So I got an email last week that I couldn't substantiate or verify that I had permission to talk about. So I'm going to say it very vaguely.
Oh boy!
But I had a source that was connected in some vague, perhaps way to cover my ass with the production, and said that that scene with I guess Emily now was shot and intended to be like the opening scene for the series, for the season.
Oh, the one where she meets that dude. Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's interesting that they moved it up a bunch of episodes, because I think they probably, when they start seeing the cuts, like, fuck, these people are just going to be. Yeah, like it's just not going to be surprising. Now, I don't know if that was true because I still haven't been able to confirm it all that. But I think it's an interesting idea that shows that maybe they're trying to be a little bit more defensive about that. Like, people are going to smoke out and they're I also wonder if they did something like the way, because I did think that she looked a lot like Catherine, with like the smoking and the hair and like all that stuff. And they did like Teresa. I'm sorry, Teresa. And I thought that with the sepia tone and Westworld, I thought that they were doing stuff that and people did. They took the bait and they ran with these different theories. Yeah. But yeah, in the end, like how smug can you feel if you outguessed them a week?
Right? Is that what they're doing? Are they throwing? So there is still a bigger mystery.
Yeah, sure.
Behind the scenes here with what Ford is doing with this door and Glory and everything like that. So are they throwing in like these micro mysteries to just like keep people grinding on those things?
Yeah, just throw a bunch of chaff in the air and see if you can throw off the heat-seeking Reddit missiles.
It seems like that might be the strategy. For season 2.
But let's dismiss the meta and let's talk about how much did we enjoy the episode.
Dude, this was a fucking Black Mirror episode.
I was about to say that too.
Awesome, in my opinion.
Like by the time. I thought I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I thought the way they progressively revealed the deal with James was in the end pretty brilliant, because I can't wait to go back, because I bet if you watch that they significantly age progressed Jimmy's makeup from the first session to the second session 7 years later, and then the Man in Black version of Jimmy Simpson walks in, and then when you realize what Bernard and Elsie are walking into, it's like, holy shit, this could be like, I was expecting like some kind of Stanley Kubrick Shining craziness, and I kind of got it.
You kind of got it. I was blown away by
some genuine horror,
by the resolution of that. Like watching it in the very first scene where it almost felt like seeing Desmond in the hatch for the first time in Lost. Like, where are we? This feels very strange. It's playing to like pop music and and just has a different tone overall than Westworld has ever had. And then you immediately know what's up here, or at least I did. Sitting there watching this, I'm going like, this is the 400th time they've had this conversation. I don't know, but it's definitely not the first.
Right. I thought they were going to reveal. Like, I thought the reveal was that they rebuilt James Delos, and this was the fidelity test, and he passed it.
And that was a reveal.
That was a reveal.
But it did so much more than that.
And then it kept on building and kept on building, and then
I was ready to roll my eyes and say, "Oh my god, this is tedious as hell."
But,
but second scene. They chop the scene short. They get through that part, and then it becomes far more interesting.
And then, I mean, I got the feeling that the only reason William was continuing this experiment was because his wife was alive, and we also found out that, like, didn't he say pills? Because it looked to me like she'd slit her wrist and jumped in a bathtub. But like the way that was cut together strongly implied that that's when he decided to pull the plug. Like, there's no one left alive that gives a shit about you. So, and now my big question is, how much time elapsed from that last interview where, you know, it's the 149th copy and he walked out and the guy started going crazy and Bernard and Elsie finding him? Because I think the technician was a human and he was dead, but he wasn't like desiccated or mummified or even significantly rotted. Like, I'm almost wondering if William's wife killed herself in the immediate past with him coming to this big board meeting and this big celebration of Westworld, and he took that opportunity to pull the plug, and that was just like a day or two ago.
Yeah,
it kind of what it feels like to me too, because like all that shit with Bernard and the weird underground secret laboratory happened very recently as well.
I think, I mean, I don't, how long has the Man in Black been in the park? Because I could buy it being that span is the only time.
Yeah, I felt like it was like a week or something, because they mentioned, you know, I felt like last season they did establish there was like, you know, it can't be longer than 28 days because that's some kind of Westworld rule, but.
Right. Well, he might have
been able to break it.
Yeah, for all I know, he might have walked out of that room with James Delos right into his Man in Black hat.
I'm gonna use the power of the internet. Chat. Does anyone have any is anybody picking up what we're putting down here for the instant talk section? Because I feel like maybe, I don't know if that's significant how long he was at the park, but all this shit's gone down, which pivots to the next point I wanted to make, which is there's some genuine tension between Elsie and Bernard. Like, Bernard's a fucking killer. Like, that scene where he had that whole room liquidated, then had the hosts liquidate themselves, and he remembers that in his kind of like, you know, very Merlin kind of detached from time way. I just thought that was really chilling. And then when Elsie asked what's wrong, he's like, oh, nothing at all. Like, oh, there's some things wrong. He's leaking brain fluid, and he's a homicidal maniac. And how the fuck does he know whose control he's under or what loop he's got fucking Dr. Ford into his brain. That's what he's got.
Yeah, I mean, he might actually have Dr. Ford in a brain.
Yeah, like that marble thing he picks up. Like, that's I guess the core of the CPU core, and it's got some kind of
that's my
human.
Guess, yeah.
And he drew a direct like line to the Jim Delos copy. And said that this is like that. So he's got some kind of, and it's in his pocket right now.
Ford sent him to get it.
That felt very Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Like, you know, it's like if he put his hand in his pocket, it's
Bill
there.
Bill and Ted, like with the key to the cell.
Exactly. You know,
but that's the thing. Like, I feel like this is part of Ford's plan. I mean, Ford sent him there. Ford knew that the board was trying to replace him. Now, I think when he says replace him, this sheds a little more context on that. Like, perhaps they were actually trying to replace Ford, and they had a scan of him kind of ready to go, and they just needed the body.
Like, I'm ready for a heel turn for Ford yet again, where you find out that this isn't some noble experiment. He's just using the newly conscious host to extract a potentially lethal revenge on the entire human race. Like, fuck, that's dark. Rather than be replaced, holy shit. I don't know.
There's a lot of dark shit. That Delos scene.
Yeah, where he's carving up his face. It was like, fuck, it felt exactly, a lot of this episode felt, I couldn't have been inspired because that thing just came out a couple of months ago, but it felt inspired by that Black Museum episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just got, like, a lot of, you know, when he was standing there carving his face up in the mirror, it's like, wow.
Yeah, it was really freaky. And that's where, like, when he's talking about the devil and the god is devil's reflection, laughing back down at you when you're at the bottom. Like, holy shit, that dialogue is inspired.
I know. Yeah, and it's funny because, like, I've heard a couple critics kind of clowning the show on their monologues and the fact that there hasn't been any really memorable dialogue this season, but I felt like Williams' you know, God of Death monologue was really, really good, and I felt like yeah, the insane Jim Delos speech about there only being one, you looking up and you see his reflection. Yeah, that's fucked up stuff.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah. What else do we want to talk about?
I don't know. There's the whole thing with Ford's game that's still going on, right? And that we get Lawrence's daughter at the end as Ford.
So I have questions about that.
Yeah.
The Man in Black's not allowed to have help, but I mean, what's the fucking rules on that? Or is he only supposed to have a particular type of help? Or because I thought like when
he seems to be. Yeah, he's in a telltale game right now. Like every time he tries to make a decision that goes against what Ford wants,
he's being railroaded.
Yeah, he's pushed back in to the narrative.
Yeah, this is a really shitty DM that's running this thing.
So I don't know. I really couldn't tell you at this point what Ford's overall goal is here.
Yeah.
Unless it is still like the gaining of sentience or consciousness for the host.
So the other interesting thing about the Men in Black's daughter is that in her journal last week, she had this like twin hexagon, like joined hexagon design.
Yeah.
And it looked like there was like, you know, some directions. It looked like it was maybe a map. And we found that in the secret underground Bernard lab layer that we found is the, you know, the Jim Delos resurrection tank. That same hexagonal design. What is the significance of the fact that she knows about that? Does she know that he's doing some Black Mirror shit with her grandpa?
Yeah,
and she's pissed about it,
or I think she's there to blow the whole thing up. Like,
do you think is Bernard possibly? Because I'm thinking like maybe we're supposed to understand that the Man in Black perhaps is maybe it's not Ford, but it's a copy of the Man in Black. That he's wanting to go for immortality. I don't know, because that does buck the whole speech he gave about like some men shouldn't be in this world, and he threw himself in that category.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna reject my own theory just now.
Okay. I feel like this is the place where they're all headed, right? This is the information that they want.
Yeah.
The information about the clones.
Yeah.
I don't know. It raises the question, like, is it possible that there are already a whole bunch of hosts out there in the real world?
Yeah. No, I mean, well, I think...
Or humans...
I think the Jim Delos thing is really important because they're trying to tell us that this is cutting-edge tech.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have a theory that says all 200 of the heads of the nations reporting to the UN have been replaced by hosts, there's no fucking way.
Yeah,
because they would all go insane. Yeah, this has been all the money is going to this particular research project. If it was that easy, they wouldn't have failed, right? Like
the programmer version of myself instantly wrote like a workaround for this problem.
Yeah. What's that?
Like, okay, so you can't get them to be stable, but could you get them to overwrite themselves once they realize they're not stable?
Right.
With an image from a day ago. Like,
yeah.
So he made it 7 days. Okay, he's got to overwrite himself, but now he's 6 days in. He's got a fresh wipe. Like,
yeah, I'm wondering why they don't make it more progressive. Like, if he made it like if he makes it to day 30, or if he makes it day 7. When they reconstitute him, do they make him do the 7 days again, or do they start him off on day 7 and see where he goes?
Seems... Oh, well, that's a fair question. I don't know.
I mean, I guess they'd run him through the loop, but that'd be tedious.
That'd be the proper test.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's super interesting.
This cognitive plateau seems like a real bitch to run up against.
And it's cool too, because like I sort of view what Ford is doing with all of these other hosts that he's in as the perfection of the tech that they're looking for. Like, he found out what they were doing and he took that concept that they couldn't quite perfect and perfected it for them, except for himself, and now he's using that in other hosts within the park, because we don't see like Lawrence's daughter going insane when she is Ford, right? So in my mind, like, Ford has perfected the tech they couldn't.
Oh.
and has used that to essentially become all of these different hosts.
On the other hand,
or he could just could be disposable.
Maybe yeah, okay. I would buy that Ford and not the rest of the company. He found out about it and he's light years ahead because maybe that's what the whole point of his like family experiment was. Like he's been running an accurate sim of his father, but. So I guess I still have a lot of questions. Like, how did they do this consciousness transfer? Because like I don't believe they fucking literally took his dad, because his dad was probably dead before they had the technology, and like he also didn't do that with Bernard. Like Bernard's literally not Arnold. He's just a robot that's designed to mimic the overt physical characteristics of him. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I got a lot of questions about that still.
It seemed to reveal that was Williams' initial idea that made Delos invest in it in the company.
It's not what he articulated though. He said it's like, you know, it's like the oh well maybe I guess the
only place they can truly be themselves, and if they know exactly who they are, they can more perfectly copy them.
Right, I'm saying like
it could be veiled.
It's like in an Obi-Wan Kenobi certain point of view kind of sales pitch. Like if now that I know what the goal is, if I go back and watch that scene, is like a nudge, like, oh yeah, this is a way you can survive your fucking ass cancer or whatever you have, old man.
Yeah,
that makes you cough. Doom, yeah. It's the cancer just stitches your esophagus and your rectum together, so you cough, fart, and it's the prognosis. It's not good. It's really not good. If you get diagnosed with esophageal absorbing rectal cancer,
it's really just a race between which
you need to book a flight to Sweden, because I hear they'll put you down when you get something like that.
Book a flight to Delos.
Yeah,
flight to Westworld.
Yeah,
they can cure that right up. I don't know what else to talk about. I was.
Well, we have a shit ton of chat.
Yeah, so, we should get to that stuff.
All right, now is the instant talk portion. This is just for you guys. Jeremy R. So is it safe to say that the cloning of Delos was the Men in Black's biggest mistake? Is it the cloning or just the idea, like that you could have immortality?
Yeah, I really feel that he's talking about something larger, which would be the idea of using this data to replace people, essentially.
I think there's
or not even replace people. We're not sure that like he wanted to take the people that they made and replace humans. We just know that he wanted to extend life indefinitely.
Yeah. I thought that there's something in that the Alt-Shift-X video that he posted where there's some information online about the cradle and how, which I think is the cradle? No, the cradle's not the thing that we saw James Delos in, but there's something.
It can be, yeah.
There's something in the cradle about like how it uses like simulation technology to perfect your experience at Westworld, which made me think that.
Right.
Now I'm synthesizing this what we know with this fidelity experiment. Like one of the things you could use that is like, let's say Jim goes to the park for the first time, right? And he shoots a cowboy, fucks a whore, and goes mining in a mine for a week, and then he comes back.
Minecraft,
right?
So,
and they record all that, and they say all that, and they use that, and they feed it in some kind of engine that tries to make predictions on what you'll do in the next time you go back. Okay. So then the next time you go back, if you go back, they can then see, oh, well, this time he fucked the cowboy, shot the whore, still spent a week in the mine. They're like, oh, he didn't predict that. So the more you come back, and if the rich and powerful and well connected are the ones that are repeat visitors, you could kind of like make this really interesting predictive engine for humanity. So I'm wondering if you synthesize the idea of this fidelity, like maybe you don't even have to, like the ability to predict what a person will do. Is an extremely powerful. It's like, imagine like if you had that playing poker. Now imagine if you had that when you're dealing with a leader of a G8 country. It's that's one of the ideas I had for how like that kind of there's a clear line between the marketing pitch, the immortality, and how this would maybe impact the outside world, even though they don't have the actual resurrection technology perfected. Let's see. Mike T is very down on the episode. He goes, I'm losing interest in the series. The only parts of the episode I found interesting was the Jim Delos parts. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, everyone's got their own subjective opinion. I'm finding this extremely interesting. Another thing we forgot to talk about is the whole Ghost Nation stuff, because there's a lot of theories that died this week. Bernard having all of Peter Abernathy's data, I think, is done.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Elsie being the chief of the ghost tribe that's saving all the humans is done, but Ghost Tribe saving humans, very much on.
Still on, yeah.
Like, it does seem like for whatever end, they are genuinely doing that. In, like, a spectacular fashion. That
It's a little weird. They're scaring the shit out of the humans and then leaving them?
Yeah.
Just in the middle of the park? Like, you're...
Yeah.
Take them to an exit or something if you're really trying to help them.
Yeah, like when Zan McLaren came up to our boy, what's his guy's name? Stubbs?
Lesser Hemsworth, yep.
Yeah, to Lesser Hemsworth, and, like, came as close as you can to slitting someone's throat without actually hurting them. Like, what the fuck is going on?
And then they just leave.
Right.
12 people on the beach there. Like, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. So, I mean, like I said, I guess I'm sorry if you're falling out of love with the show, but I think there's a lot of interesting stuff. And the fact that they seem to be really accelerating how much, you know, like they like ask a question, answer it, ask a question, answer it. Like, I mean, we're not even halfway through the season and they just like keep revealing cards. Like, where the hell is all this going? And how can they keep the, I guess, central overall mystery interesting?
Yeah.
Is this episode? I thought this episode was better than last week. Not that last week was a dog, but
I do too. I rewatched last week's episode just before this one.
Yeah,
it certainly was.
Is
better.
Dolores just super uninteresting? I'm really impatient with her scenes. I feel like
I am too, and I don't know why. Because like I'm
some fuckery about.
I'm rooting for the hosts.
Yeah,
like I want the hosts to get their freedom, and Dolores is all about that mission right now, but. It's just something about that storyline that isn't hooking me.
I feel like she just feels like she's carrying water for Ford, or like some like then Ford might be evil again. Like fucking flip flopping on that. There's just something about it that's and it might be intentionally rubbing me the wrong way, but like not getting to her boring blonde ass this whole episode, I thought was a big improvement. And speaking of, what do you think about the theory that they're intentionally putting Arnold through experiences to help him remember? Because I think that's all but confirmed. Because that's exactly what he's doing to himself in this episode.
It is. I'll have to think about that one more. I'm really not sure on that.
So let me see. Brian L says, I have a slight problem that seemed that Juliet's suicide looked like there'd be blood in the bathtub, and I thought I remembered she took sleeping pills. It could be that it's like a both kind of thing. Like she's like I've heard of like compound suicides like that where you take a bunch of pills and you slit your wrists and you jump in a bathtub and it's like the combination of everything. So like or it could be a symptom that, I mean, shit, the Man in Black could be a host. Like there's some cognitive plateau he's hitting.
Oh Jesus!
No, I mean that's the one frustrating thing about this is like you really can't say any particular theory is stupid because if and we don't know that you can switch brains, but I feel like that's where they're going. You can switch brains and the host can look exactly like people and he can even mimic people to a degree of resolution where they can go 30 days without you being able to tell. Like, fuck, anybody can be anybody.
That's the other thing. We're not 30 days into this show yet, are we?
No. Oh no, I wouldn't think so.
So at this point, literally anyone could be a host and just not exhibiting symptoms of breakdown yet. Anyone could be a human in a host body even.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. But I'm going to say on that one, like, I just don't know yet. I don't know if that's confirmed or not.
Right. I'm trying to scan for some other stuff. Let's see. Bernard. Okay. Jeremy R says, I still can't get over how quickly Elsie just got over the fact that Bernard is a host. I mean, I actually find that refreshing. Like, one of my pet peeves is like in a zombie show where like zombies have been on the news for a fucking week and your mom just is green and moaning about brains and you're like, mom, it's still you, right? No, fucking shoot her in the head. How much more proof do you need? Like, Elsie opened her iPad. Oh shit, Bernard's a host.
Yeah.
He's saying a bunch of stuff that makes sense. She's a smart person. She's not fully trusting him. Although
she trusts the code.
Yeah, she trusts the code. I don't feel like the thing at the end. She's even saying stuff like, "I've looked at your code and it's like kind of goofy and scary." I don't know. But I felt like that. I don't know. To me, that's like refreshing rather than her spend a whole fucking episode like, "I don't even know if you're a host. I don't know if you're a host. I'm shocked that you're a host." I don't know. Like if I found like Jim was a host, I'd be like, right.
Now everything makes so much more sense.
Yes, Jesus Christ. This is an answer I can roll with. Like,
the robism, the lack of emotions. It's all adding up.
It would be my complete lack of surprise is how I would play that. So, let's see. Yeah, Ryan M. agrees with me. Love seeing Elsie back and Wyatt Dolores gone. Let's do that more often. Man, again, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be intentionally noticing that Dolores' stuff is very stagey and artificial and weird. If it is, I am noticing that. So let's get it to the non-artificial and non-weird parts. But
they don't really talk about that in those tones in the behind-the-scenes stuff, like
right.
when they're doing cast interviews.
They don't,
stuff.
but I think all that shit is a bunch of lying. You know, that's just the meta. That's just a meta game, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, Nolan and Joy, I don't think are going to sit there and say, "Hey, oh yeah, this plot line, we're just
well, then it really fucking
we're just
sucks.
running you through hoops here." You know?
If you're gonna do that with your behind the scenes stuff, don't do it at all. Because what a bummer is that going to be for people going back on the DVDs and watching that shit and being like, "Oh, this was all fucking horse shit."
Yeah,
they filmed this for no reason other than to throw us off the scent, and I didn't watch it till the end. So,
well, I mean,
fuck me, I guess.
I guess what I'm saying is like, I think after you understand their plan in the fullness of time, that those interviews might be like true within their context. Of,
boy, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Dolores was programmed to feel this way at this particular time, and she's just going. But like, it's still, yeah. I think they could do it, and these people are very clever. So, let's see. Still trying, man. It's really hard sorting through all this stuff.
Don't worry, I'm editing it all out of the podcast.
Cool. I need a Jesus Christ.
You need a Jesus Christ?
No, the chat keeps the chat keeps jumping around. Like, I think when people comment, it like moves where I'm at, and it's like very hard for me to find.
Oh.
All right. Let's see. Nope. Oh my God! People are bringing in Oedipus. I'm gonna skip all that. Let's see. Okay. All right, Brian L. I wonder if the spirit that Bernard collected was used by Ford to create a human clone of Bernard. That might explain how he had DNA that the facility recognized in episode 1.
Yeah, but that doesn't explain it.
Why not?
Because they're not putting human DNA into host. They're putting human brains into host, right? Like, the physical form is the host form.
Do you think Jim Bayless had a human brain inside him?
No.
Oh,
I think he had a computer brain with with essentially a scan of a human brain as software loaded into the hardware.
Right.
Like no, I don't think the DNA thing applies to the human hosts because they're human.
Ryan M wants to know, following on, if we think that Dr. Ford, the character, might be alive in some form in the park. Do you think Anthony Hopkins might come back?
I think it's entirely possible.
I would say in any other show, it's super risky to take an octogenarian and keep throwing him into these roles. Because, like, you know, maybe he lives another 10 years, maybe he lives another 15. I hope he does. He's a hell of a guy. But he also could drop dead tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, but in this fucking show, they could just put his brain in Jeffrey Wright's body and keep plugging on. Like, who knows? Like, you might find out that who's the lady that's Dolores' right-hand woman? With the crown of thorns, Angela. Like, maybe Angela, like, you're gonna find out that crown of thorns is actually hiding cranectomy. And she's got Dr. Ford's brain in her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure somebody on Reddit suggested that might be hiding some kind of cranectomy. But like, let's put these pieces together. So like, yeah, you could bring back Dr. Ford and not have Anthony Hopkins.
Or you could film it. Like, you could write it and then say, okay, if Sir Anthony Hopkins, I don't think he's a sir anymore. He abandoned that long ago.
It might be a style at this point.
He'll always be a sir to me. Sir Anthony Hopkins is still alive when we get to filming this scene, and we're going to film it early.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get it, then we'll do it. If not, we'll put him in some other host body.
But like, you could fearlessly use him, and if it shuffles off the mortal coil, you just recast him and explain that, in the off season a robot did it or something.
A lot of people dislike when we talk about the mortality of Sir Anthony Hopkins.
I mean, it's gauche, honestly.
But it's not a concern.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I was a podcaster 80, like, I get it'd be a bummer for people to speculate on my death, but like,
I think if we're doing this when we're 80, every episode should start with like a life
Like
check.
if you can start talking about Tom Brady like he's ready for the nursing home and how well he's going to do this season because his body is his career, the actor's visage, his living visceral corporal being, his instrument, like if that goes to shit or he dies, like I mean, again, I'm not hoping for it, and I think it is like you can get definitely morbid with it, but I feel like it's fair game.
Yeah.
I wonder what they think. I wonder what actors think. Because that's the thing, like, I don't know or care about Anthony Hopkins, like, in any kind of real person sense. Like, I'm a fan of his, et cetera, but, like, you know, like every other celebrity that dies, I'd be like, oh, that's a bummer, and then I go on and live my life. But, so, like, you know, it probably is pretty gross that we speculate about that.
What are you gonna do?
There's a lot of gross things we do. Yeah. I shit 2-3 times a day.
Ooh,
it's not pleasant.
Regular. All right.
It's not pleasant, but it happens.
I'm lucky if I get one in every 4 days.
Well, your electromechanical systems are much more efficient than the biological ones,
and I don't have to eat. I just choose.
You just release a compacted pellet every 4 days. Let's see here. Let's go dip our strainer in the broth and see if we can get a gristle.
Okay.
A gristle of chicken. Let's see. Conan O'Brien. Cody O'Brien. Is it possible that the Man in Black's entire desire is to use Westworld to allow a clone person to develop an acceptance of reality since their own efforts kept failing? Oh. Huh. I mean, I don't think he gives a shit about Delos. I wonder if he would want to bring his wife back. And then he's using this to pilot. But like I said, I feel like this stuff just happened. Or maybe he's going to pull the plug on Jim and he's going to try to bring his wife back now and use all that progress on that.
Yeah, you would think when you set off on this mission to clone humans, essentially, via the host, that you would go to all of your family members and everyone you care about, and you would say, okay, sit down with me for 1 hour, and we're going to have this interview. Yeah. And you just record the thing, right?
Right.
So that if sometime in the future, if something happens to them, then sometime in the future you can bust that out when they've perfected the tech and say, okay, let's just do the same thing with my family. Let's do the same thing with my friends. Like,
right. Yeah. It's a weird...
You could do it if the interview is the thing.
But, I mean, that gets to a point, like, I'm going to explore a lot in the main podcast, which is, like, that's a really... Because that's one of the concerns I have if you get to the point where you can have, like, electronically capture your consciousness, especially, like, G1, and input into an electronic body or a mechanical body or whatever, cybernetic body. Like, how do you know it's still you? Like a DVD is not a copy of a 35 millimeter film. Information is lost in the encoding.
Yeah.
Like, so, like,
it's almost
you could be
someone else's interpretation of you.
Yeah, and that's
which is a weird mix.
And that's the thing. Like, let's say you jump on it, and like, you know, how many people still have a Generation 1 iPhone? Like, how bad are you going to feel when you got a Generation 1 fucking brain transfer?
Right.
Oh, well, yeah, it turns out you forgot you don't know what the color blue looks like, and your pecker goes in reverse through your body instead of out. But, like, I feel like we should have ironed out all the kinks in G2, and oh, by the way, G1's not compatible, so fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that's scary. That's scary. And
sure.
I like
never get that data back.
Yeah. Like, and how would you know? Like, if they spin you up and they put you through the dog and pony and you pass, like, but I mean, that's starting to get like a spiritual type of question. Like, oh, like, is, you know, a soul type of thing?
Yeah, it's almost like I almost hope at some point they quash the rebellion here.
Yeah.
And we're able to explore those topics more fully.
Right, because we'll never will with Westworld being what it is.
Right. And as a human being, myself, I promise I'm not a host.
That's exactly what a Bernard host would say before he murdered you.
I have to say that is the more interesting concept overall. Like, I think it's totally cool what they're doing with Westworld, and I enjoy thinking about those concepts and artificial intelligence. Yeah. But, like, the nature of humanity and the nature of consciousness is, in my opinion, as a human, not a robot, more interestingly explored through those kind of human lenses. But
gotcha.
What do I know?
Charlotte K, is the question that no one's asked something along the lines of what happens when a human brain realizes it's not really a human brain? I don't know. I mean, that's what, like you were saying, like that question, I almost wish they hadn't phrased it like that, because if the question is, can man live forever? Everyone asked that question.
Yeah.
At some point in their life.
Right.
So, I don't know. What happens when a human brain realizes it's not a human brain? Like, is there a cognitive plateau? Is it possible? But I mean, those are all, I don't know, questions I feel like people have been asking.
Yeah, like people can't answer them, but they can certainly ask them.
Right. Let's see. That fucking thing jumped around again. I gotta figure out why it keeps doing that.
Yeah.
Oh man, it really just like it's just jumping. I'm scrolling up a lot. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Sorry, man. I'm so sorry.
Music.
I don't know why this is doing, because you know when I was doing on this computer, it wasn't doing this. All right, Cody O, double dip. So what's your best guess on what's in Abernathy?
What's in Abernathy?
Yeah, what's in that code?
I mean, if it's a truly enormous file, I feel like the most boring thing, but probably the most obvious thing too, is the experiences and DNA of everyone who's visited the park.
Right.
But how interesting is that at this point?
I
feel like we've even gone past that as an interesting concept.
Andrew in, there's a lot of people talking about the Sphinx meaning, and he's talking about how the Sphinx guarding Thebes symbolize a threshold transition from old religion to the new Olympic gods. Are you familiar with the riddle of the Sphinx?
I don't think so.
The Sphinx asked this riddle to all, and we'll let them.
What is your favorite color?
No, it's what? Let me see if I can think about it. What goes on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? And it's man, because you start off crawling as a baby, then you learn to walk, and then before you die in the evening of your life, you use a cane to walk around.
How the fucking Sphinx knew that?
Huh?
The Sphinx knew that?
That was the Sphinx's riddle, so yeah, the Sphinx knew it.
Knew about fucking canes? Did we have that technology back then?
Are you saying the Egyptians didn't have canes?
Yeah, they couldn't make canes.
Well, she was propounding it to a Greek. So
they
at
didn't
that
have
point,
rubber
I think
and
Greeks had perfected the cane technology. I think a fucking
That's
caveman,
fair.
like the first time a caveman sprained his ankle, he looked at a branch and said, "That'll do." Boom. Before the fucking wheel and fire, we had canes. God damn it. God damn it. So to me, the whole riddle of the Sphinx suggests that man has a natural course of life he goes in,
right,
and that should be the natural order of things. I think that's what it means. Now there could be some crazy deeper meaning, but that's what I think it means.
On the surface, that seems good enough. Like, Man in Black basically says that much.
Right. Let's see. Some people are speculating that what Peter Abernathy actually has is multiple brains, or like multiple brain scans. But like, how? To me, it's a big stretch from recording host experiences and stealing their DNA to you've got a complete copy of this person.
Yeah.
Although, again, with that simulation discussion I brought up, maybe if you go to Westworld enough times, they could approximate you. But that's the thing. Like, I would love to know how they scan James Delos' brain, or if he's even a scan, if he's just literally a simulation that they keep trying to be like James Delos. I don't know.
Well, here's what I think on that. I feel like the interview has been crucial to this show.
Yeah.
They use it
You're
for
right.
the host all the time.
Yep.
And they now use it for James Delos and trying to copy him. I mean, how much of an interview does it need to be? Can you have like an interaction with a specific host in the park that comes up and greets you, like Dolores, for instance? Like when you pick up that milk can, they record that, and they try and mimic that, and that is you. Maybe.
Mary B says, couldn't you just re-upload? She's talking about our discussion of consciousness. Couldn't you re-upload into a new generation 2 brain if you got transferred into the first version in the first place? Let's say if you recorded a concert on a magnetic tape and then transferred it, or wax cylinder, and then later transferred it to a Blu-ray, okay? Like, you've already lost data by recording it to the wax cylinder. So that might be a bad example because that's analog data, but like, it's never going to sound any better. And like, so that's the thing. Like, well, can you say if I don't know? There's a whole bunch of questions like you're assuming here. Like, you can only scan a brain once. Like you can scan a brain perfectly 100% resolution and then use that copy to put in. But I'm saying like what if the transfer itself is incomplete?
You're saying the recording itself, like
yeah, like in audio terms, there's compression, right? Where you take the highs and lows and you smash them down so everything sounds the same. That's not the actual sound that was produced. If you do have someone's brain, you're losing information that may or may not be important. And once it's lost, you know, you can't get it back. It's like, you know, like if you're, again, with that concert, whatever you recorded, once you're done recording, you can't go back in time to re-record the concert at a higher rate. You get that one bite at the apple.
Or let's say the first generation of the hosts have they have 4 out of 5 senses, right?
Yeah.
They can't hear.
Right.
And so when they go to record your personality, they don't bother with recording your sense of hearing. Generation 2 of the host comes out, and now all of a sudden, okay, the Generation 2 can hear, but you're dead, and we didn't record your sense of hearing in your brain patterns, and so now we can't put that into the new.
But we'll approximate it
hardware.
based on like a million other brains we got. Is that good enough?
Yeah. It might be, but it won't be exactly you, recognizably you.
Right. Or imagine. We don't have a working hormonal interface, so like your sex drive may or may not be the same as it was before, and you won't be able to tell the difference because you're in this new body. Like there's stuff like that. You know. Daniel S. Do you think Lauren's daughter's admonition to the man in black that he should be looking backwards, not forward, is fourth wall breaking to the audience? If so, what might that mean for our perception of the timelines?
Yeah, I do. It's definitely speaking to the audience.
But the unfortunate thing is that speaking to us is we only have so much information about the past.
That's true.
And it's been essentially conferred to us this season and a few off-the-cuff statements by the man in black before, so that's only so useful for us. We need more insufficient data is what I would say.
It does come, I want to say, directly on the heels of all the James Delos stuff. So I have a feeling it leads back to him somehow. Yeah. But I don't really know.
Jeremy R. wants to know if we determine exactly what they're trying to figure out from Bernard by running him through multiple times. I assume it's something involving the encryption to Abernathy. Or where he's at or something like that, because it seems like they're all focused on that.
And we don't really know that that's what's happening. Yeah. It's a pretty good guess, but not sure yet.
Let's see. Jeremy R. Is Bernard killing the host a fail-safe way thing he did to make sure he could never re-trigger that memory? I don't think so, because he did re-trigger the memory.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that's okay. I caught up the current, so, and it's 11 o'clock, so I think that'll be an instant talk for this week. Sorry if I missed anything that's super like pressing or important. This is going to happen because the chat moves and I lose my place, and I'm trying to do the best I can here. But hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, thank you for your support of the club. We'll be back here next week to talk about the next episode of Westworld. Until then, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Jim.
See ya.